You're now listening to the Midnight Hour, the hour about love, lust, and more, only on Radio Pioneer. Tonight, we'll be talking with Tony Del Vecchio and April Hedge about all things love. So stay tuned for some hot opinions and spicy takes.
This episode of the Midnight Hour is brought to you by Raid Shadow Legends. Use code Midnight Hour to get your free download of the Ultimate Death Knight today.
All right, welcome, guys. This is our first and foremost podcast. I guess you'd call it. For Midnight Hour. Um, so we have a couple of topics we want to go over today. Um, One thing, a major concern in the city is the love. You know, I have a couple of controversial topics here, but first I want to say hello to Miss April here. Hello,
Hello.
our legal advisor from Weasel.
Thanks for having me on the inaugural episode. It's an honor.
Yes, yeah, of course, and my co-host here, Tony. Say hello to the guys at home and the fans, I
Hello.
guess. Easy,
Hello, fans and people at home.
easy, sure. Well, why don't we talk about our first topic here? Do you guys think it's ever acceptable to cheat in a relationship?
Hmm. That is a touchy subject, I feel like.
I'm gonna go with a very
That's a hard
resounding
one.
no.
Yeah,
No.
yeah, that's a
Unless
no.
it's something you have previously discussed, such as opening up the relationship. I think cheating is just a cowardly way to avoid the hard conversations that
Hmm.
any strong relationship should be able to have.
Right.
True. And I mean, I don't know, because I feel like if you have to cheat, you might as well just end whatever it is that you're in
Right.
and then just do it anyway because then it's not cheating,
Yeah, but I
right?
think
Like,
I think that's the thing people are afraid of. I think they're afraid of letting go of something they already have for something that might not work out.
mm, yeah, I guess that makes sense. And I suppose there are situations where people feel like they can't get out of what they're in for one reason or another, and
Right.
that might
Yeah,
lead
that's a
them
true
to make
point.
decisions that they would maybe not make in other circumstances. But
Yeah, I guess
does
I
that
mean,
does
like
that
law,
really
everything's circumstantial.
yeah, I was just gonna say, does that really like excuse the cheating? 'Cause I don't know.
Right.
I feel like at the end of the day, you have the ability to put yourself where you want yourself,
Hmm.
but I
I
don't
think
know.
it might not excuse it, it might offer an explanation and help the couple kind of work through whatever that is, but I don't think there's ever like a valid justification to go behind your partner's back specifically. Like I said, completely different ball game if you've discussed it, if it's open. Um,
Right.
Do
Yeah. So
you
like
think that
that kind of. Oh no. Yeah. What was
do
that?
you do you think that like if you discuss it beforehand and make it an open relationship, do you think that's something that can like work in the long run for people? Like, do you think that kind of
I
like
mean, if both parties
what is it
are.
called? Polyamorous or whatever?
Oh my.
Is
yeah,
that
polyamory.
is that something that you could see like lasting in the long run?
I think it works for some
Uh.
people, but not
y-
all.
Yeah. Yeah. Depending on the person, I think if both parties are open to it, then yeah. But if it's only one sided, definitely not.
And I think a lot of people think that they're okay with an open relationship and then get involved in it and realize it's not something they can handle.
Ooh.
Yeah, I feel like that would just be a really awkward situation to
That'd
find
be
yourself
a.
in.
Yeah.
And like I'm sure there in some situations there are different parts for different hearts. You meld really well with one person on an emotional level, but not so much a physical level, and that there's another person involved who, yeah, you can kind of talk it out with, but there's something there physically, and everyone's like, yeah, you know what? This makes everybody involved happy and our entire situation better. I think I think if all parties involved get a little get a little more out of it, then it can work out. But I do think it's dicey.
Mhm.
Yeah. And that kind of goes on to like, can you love more than one person romantically at the same time?
Um, I guess I like by romantically, do you mean like you
Can you
feel
have,
like
I guess, yeah, could you have feelings for somebody else as well as, I guess that's not really
I
a,
don't know, 'cause like I personally never really
it's a
have.
kind of a broad question. Yeah.
I personally never really have, but like I could see how people could, you know,
Right.
because like
Yeah.
I know that there's people who like wear their heart on their sleeve pretty hardcore and could find themselves susceptible to, feeling those feelings for multiple people at once. Um Personally, I'm just a little bit too oblivious and socially awkward to recognize anything like that.
I think there's some parts of me, like deep nostalgia, that has a little bit of romantic love left for my first ex. Like we don't talk. We're not like what's the word I'm looking
Mm.
for? It's not bad blood between us. We've just drifted
Mm.
apart, but like
Right.
he was the first, so it was all like there's still a little bit of me that can feel it, but it's not enough to like impact future relationships.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But I'm also kind of in the same boat as Tony, where I have just shut it all down and don't pick up on any of the cues.
Yeah, I just
Oh,
go ahead, Earl.
no, continue. I was going on to a fan question.
Ooh, there's a fan question.
Yes, we have a question from a fan. Death Destroyer 442 says, "Is age difference a significant concern in a relationship?" Ooh.
Ooh, that's a good question. What was the name?
Death Destroyer 442.
That was a good question. Death Destroyer 442. I think age is a what was the question one more time just to make sure that I got my answer right?
He said, "Is age or she said is age difference a significant concern in a relationship?" Said,
I think it's a significant concern when it involves somebody who is underage. I think then
right,
it's a concern.
right.
Otherwise, if you
Love
have
is love,
if you
honestly.
have two consenting adults, what
Um,
mind your own business.
right, yeah, in that sense, as I was saying.
I don't think it's
uh,
necessarily the age gap itself, but where that gap is located. Like a 20 and a 30-year-old seems a little more imbalanced than say like a 30 and a 40-year-old, just because of
Yeah.
maturity in the brain development that's occurred just within those 10 years.
What would you think of like an 18 or 19-year-old and like a 60-year-old?
Oh no.
uh, hmm.
No.
That's a little strange.
That is that not considered two consenting adults?
But see, in my brain that follows the it's where the gap is. Under 25, the
It's
part of your
like
brain that makes all the rational
underdeveloped.
decisions, yeah, it's
Yeah,
not fully developed. You can't make those logical decisions for yourself. You're operating fully on emotions. I think it's an awful power imbalance. Now, if you said 26 and 73,
somebody
yeah,
with
I'd
that
probably
much
be a
life
little,
experience versus yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'd be more
sorry.
okay with like 26 and 73 because it's like, all right, your brain's been cooked for a little. It's probably still warm, but go ahead.
Right.
Here's a question. When I
Yep.
gave the numbers I did you think of a female for the young age and a man for the old age?
Yes.
Ha
Admittedly, I did, yeah.
ha
That is weird.
ha
Yeah, there we go. But
ha.
Yeah,
I
no,
don't know
and that's
It's
a
the
why.
other way
very valid
around.
concern. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
see?
there we
Look
go.
at that. Look
Huh.
at that. Why is it always that
Wow.
way? Why is it always that way? Because it exists the other way
Interesting.
around too.
Oh, no,
There
I
are
get
there are
that.
females who are older and who take advantage of
Ah,
young and
yes.
naive males all the time. Even though there might
That.
be a perceived stereotype about how, oh man, I wish that happened to me. It's like in a lot of cases, these guys really didn't want it to happen to them.
Right, right.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
no.
And it happens, oftentimes it happens with other men as well. And people don't like to talk about that either. But dudes be like grabbing other dudes and shit and thinking it's funny and stuff. And then they like have real like PTSD and trauma from it. And it's like kind of fucked up how that all works.
Right.
And we
Yeah.
always think about it in that sense of it's like the man being the creepy old one.
Mm-hmm.
That's for there was There was an age difference between the last person I was talking to, and they were younger than me. And I told them all of those concerns. I'm like, you realize that if the roles were reversed, how creepy this would be. They were like, oh, yeah, you're right, I guess. I'm like, yeah, so why is this not creepy to you?
Yeah, people don't think about it, you know?
Which is also probably
Right,
me just
yeah.
self-sabotaging because I was the one that's like, why don't you find this creepy? We should find this creepy.
Let's find this
Oh,
creepy.
At
Oh, look
least
at
if we
that. The
find
lights
it
came
creepy
on.
together, we can be on the same page and I'd feel better about it.
Yeah, true.
yeah.
Do you find that you self-sabotage a lot
Oh yeah.
all the
Yeah,
time?
quite a bit.
I am constantly trying to figure out if I am closing off relationships because of a valid red flag or because I'm just a little scaredy pants. And usually it's because I'm just a little scaredy pants.
True. True. Why do you feel like you're a scaredy pants?
I don't know. I've been burned a lot. I've got mama issues. I've got daddy issues. It's just a whole big concoction of
Oh,
me not
yeah.
being in a right place to give someone else that. In the words of Mama RuPaul, if you can't love yourself, how the hell are you gonna love somebody else?
Praise the Lord.
Pablo Rebazar makes $28 million a year. Dwayne Aller makes $35 million a year. You make $10 an hour. Failure this deep calls for a deep, slow brewed beer. Lager, the official beer of American baseball. These guys are at the top of their game. You're at the bottom. Relive your glory days. Have a lager.
Are you still stuck on 4G? Wiz Wireless is the only network offering incredible 9G technology. Yes, that's the 9th generation, featuring the new drone. It's significantly better than the iFruit phone. How do we know that? Because we blatantly ripped off their design and improved a couple of irrelevant features. 9G. Discover your future. You can't be the best if you aren't doing 8 things at once on a tiny screen. The drone from Wiz Wireless. Together we're making your life 9 times better. That's the promise of the 9th generation.
Relationships in the workplace. Do they get in the way of the work? Cass, what do you think?
I mean, I feel like there's like
Oh
a
wait, are we
middle
going?
ground,
Oh, we're
you
going.
know?
Uh, I'm gonna
Uh
come.
like I feel like to an extent there's like an appropriate amount of stuff that's at work you can do as like partners for any sort of like, relationship format you're doing, right? To do in the workplace, and obviously there's, stuff that's more appropriate for out of workplace, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So like I feel that like yeah, for the most part it's okay, but like there's some things that are better left unsaid at times, you know?
Mhm.
Do you think that that kind of thing could lead to like workplace problems becoming problems at home and that kind of scenario?
Ooh.
I suppose it depends how much time they spend together, like at work and at home, and what other free time they may have from either of those situations. So they would be working closely together. Uh,
Yeah, true. It does. I guess it does kind of depend on how much time they're necessarily spending together.
mm,
What do you think, April?
I mean, I think I'm in a similar boat, and it's about the balance. I personally couldn't see someone all day at work and see them all day at home, and that probably sounds really awful and selfish, but I
Yeah.
don't know. I think it just needs to be a good balance.
I don't think it's selfish necessarily. More like, because I mean, I feel like there's a tendency that people have nowadays to like feel like when they have like a standard of how they want to be treated or what they expect, they feel like that's wrong for some reason, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's something that people got to try and like not do so much to themselves because it's not wrong to like have a certain expectation of like how you want to be treated by somebody that you're invested in romantically, you know. And I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
it's
Yeah.
it's not wrong to, not want to have to spend all your time with one person, you know?
Yeah,
It's
it's
like
Yeah.
about
people need time for themselves too.
to me it means a few things, right? First of all, it means you know like commu- relationships need to be like communicative, especially specifically about like the expectations and boundaries that they have regarding their reaction personal you know relations in a relationship, both like in like a professional standard for the work obviously, and for the personal side for how they interact with each other outside of work. And secondly, my train of thought completely derailed.
That happens to me all the time. I swear to God. All the time.
Yes.
As for
Um,
the first part, though, like that communication of those boundaries and expectations for the relationship is like clear from like the first
Yes.
place to you know set like what kind of relationship that of individuals or a whole like group of people follow. You know.
yeah, yeah. I agree with
Correct.
that. What about you, Earl?
Yeah, I think it's a green light. It's a go ahead. You go.
Oh, I just am totally now remembering too. We didn't introduce our guest.
No, we didn't. I was like, we're going.
We jumped right into things with the questions. I got so excited.
Everyone at home, we have a guest joining us for the second part of our podcast. Everyone, welcome Cassandra from Tequila La.
Howdy, howdy. Pleased to meet everybody.
Ooh,
Welcome,
hello,
Cassandra.
Cassandra. Cassandra
Thank
of
y'all.
Tequila La fame
The
and
only proper
fortune.
introduction is a round of applause. I'm
Easier.
disappointed in those gentlemen.
Yes.
Of course, of course.
Now let me ask you a question about Tequila La,
Yeah.
Cass. When are you thinking of doing an open mic type night? Or is that something you're thinking of doing?
It is something that I've had on my plate to do for a while. Of course, like I'm gonna need like some, time to end up
Mhm.
restructuring the bar before I end up getting a official date. Planning on a few changes over there in terms of like employment and like how we handle the business processes there.
Yeah. Well, I know April is just dying to do her stand-up routine somewhere.
Honestly, I would love that.
Yeah, she's just been telling me every day, Tony, I need somewhere where I can just go and do my stand-up comedy
No,
because all of my
I
jokes are just so killer that everybody needs to hear them. And I tell her all the time, I say, just wait. Just you wait, April. One of these days, Tequila La, I'll be the place where you can do it.
listen. No, I
No,
I'm only funny when there's no pressure, and I only joke about stand up if my law career ever fails me.
I mean, ¿por
no,
qué no los dos?
Cassandra.
Okay.
I've heard
Remember, let me tell.
rumors.
Have you heard about airplane food?
Oh my god.
I've
What
heard rumors
about
on the
airplane
streets.
food?
What's up?
I've heard rumors on the streets about there's some feud going on between the management right now at Tequila La or something like that. Is that true?
Yeah, there's been some turmoil there on that front with the co-owner Christian Alderson, Chris, as he
Oh,
also called. But
okay.
I'm looking forward for its resolvement in the future. Obviously, uh, kind of just waiting on a few things behind the scenes. You know how it goes.
Is
Yep,
yeah,
yep, yep.
of course.
Mhm. Are you finding that it's making it harder to like run the business?
A little bit, but I'm also working to like get a new website up and running. Just
That's something. What do you? Sorry, not to cut you off. What do you guys think about with feuds in the workplace? Did we cover that? Yeah.
I don't think we have.
So do you think that uh definitely impacts the work performance that's being done in the workplace?
Well,
When
of
lovers
course,
turn to fighters.
Mm-hmm. But not just between management, I guess between all employees, within
Yeah.
certain individuals.
Well, like the most important thing in that I feel like is conflict resolution, right? being able to
Mhm.
like work together professionally, even if you don't like each other as an individual,
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't like necessarily impact the overall performance in a business.
Right.
However,
There
I
should be a
understand sometimes that
professionalism.
like if
Yeah.
emotions rise high, it's best to diffuse the situation, right? It, but if it gets out of hand, of course, it has not only an impact on like both of the employees who are in said feuds, like performance, but the business overall, because that ends up like bringing production down overall. Because
Mm-hmm.
not just those employees, but witnesses of the feud as well. And like personally, I have to be transparent with my employees about the whole thing, because to me, that's my duty as a business owner, is to be like upfront with my employees, let them know this is like what's going on. Here are my
Mm-hmm.
plans. Uh, I would love to you know have you continue to work with me, and here are my expectations, right?
Mm-hmm.
And of course, like I encourage my employees to also seek off plenty of free time, right?
Nope.
Yeah. Um, but a lot of them like to work, and personally, as a business owner, I love to see it.
Mm.
Yeah, it's nice when you find people who like actually want to contribute to the business for sure.
Hmm.
It's not something you find every day these days.
Yeah, a lot of
Yeah,
people looking for a quick paycheck, but don't really want to put in the work to, help others out and make that money.
yeah, yeah.
Earl, do we have any other questions from the fans?
Yeah. Is Curtis Wells gay? No.
The
uh, and
The question
the
plaguing
longest
everyone's mind for
question.
centuries.
Maybe his
uh,
husband could answer that for us.
yeah.
Maybe his
Uh,
fiance could answer that for us.
yeah. I think we covered most of the topics here today. What do you guys think? Um,
I know, Cass, I know
top
earlier we talked
opinions.
about our love languages or preferred way to show affection, get
Hmm.
affection. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh yes, let's hear some of that.
Personally, I'm more about like physical love language, like being able to
Ah.
have like and hold somebody like in contact is
Mhm.
what allows me to like translate my love you know language outward.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
It's different for everybody, of course, right?
Yeah. Are you one of
Like,
those can sit on opposite ends of the couch, pinkies touching, and you're fine
yeah.
kind of people? Yep, that's how I feel. I
I
don't
also
always
like.
want to be like smothered in hugs, but like just give me your pinky so I know you're there.
Mhm. And sometimes also like even just like doing your own thing in like the same room, even if you
Hmm.
aren't like physically close, is like also really great. Just the knowledge that you're like spending some time together, even if you're doing your own separate thing.
I do like my space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am a end of the couch kind of
Yeah,
person, but there is segments, where like you were saying, you need that one on one.
I like MySpace too, Earl. I miss MySpace every day.
Great website.
It was so
I
much cooler than Facebook. You could have your own profile songs and everything. It was
I'm
so cool.
saying that everyone in this room right now would be on my top 8 on MySpace.
Truth,
Oh wow.
truth.
Damn.
But
Did it turn into a music platform now?
I actually
I don't
honestly have
even
no
know. I
idea.
haven't been on in forever. I don't
I
even know
don't
if
know
I
what
still
Tom
have
did with
my
the
Right.
old
stuff.
website. He probably sold it or something, I'd imagine.
Huh.
More than likely.
Tony, do you want to close it?
Yeah, thanks
All right.
everybody for listening in. Thanks, Cass, for sitting with us and talking with us for a little bit. It was
Not a
nice
problem
to
at all.
have you. Everybody, make sure you go get some drinks and some food from Tequila La. Place is awesome. Uh,
That place is great.
this has been
Very great.
the Midnight
Thank you.
Hour. And once again, this episode was brought to you by our sponsor, Raid Shadow Legends. Remember to use code Midnight Hour to download your free champion, the Ultimate Death Knight, today.
Thanks again for
Thanks,
having us.
guys.
No problem. Thank you all for having me.
You're now listening to The Midnight Hour. The hour about love, lust, and more. Only on Radio Pioneer.